Moving to Boston didn't make Danny any more amicable with other police officers in his jurisdiction. The third episode of Boston Blue Season 1 brought up memories of Danny's hour-long arguments with an out-of-town guest police officer. Naturally, Brian's fear that Danny would take his position in Lena's life accounted for half of his issues. Danny would likely feel the same way about whoever Baez is currently working with if he were still in New York. That created an intriguing dynamic, but at least Boston Blue guaranteed us that Danny would not be leaving Lena anytime soon. One of my biggest worries is that Boston Blue would swiftly split Danny and Baez apart and pair Danny with Lena, since I've been waiting years for them to get together. The Boston Blue performed well. Danny's potential to be a fish out of water. Not all of Brian's complaints were unfounded. Danny wanted to breach every regulation in order to get the perp put away, but Brian was adamant about adhering to the seeming different rules concerning what police can and cannot do in Boston. Although I'm sure she was irritated by having to play referee all the time, there was a certain amusing tone to her remarks about how Brian and Danny couldn't get along. In the end, I was also happy that Brian and Lena chose to pursue their relationship. She is less likely to be a hindrance to Danny and Baez's ongoing relationship the happier those two are together. It's okay that Sarah isn't Frank Reagan. When Danny and Brian brought their disagreement to Sarah, she quickly made the only sensible decision and gave the two police officers the order to cooperate. Though I think it's time to move on, I couldn't help but compare what she did to how Frank would have handled a similar circumstance. The only way we'll see more Frank at this point is if Tom Selleck makes an appearance, which is still possible. If you thought they were keeping quiet about Baez's cameos thus far, just think of how difficult it would be for this program to conceal a Tom Selleck visit. As the head of the police department, she seems fair, but she also has the same problem with her family asking for quick assistance with work-related problems as Aaron always did on Blue Bloods. I used to adore Blue Bloods, and now I adore Boston Blue. Being able to cover these performances is a privilege, but if I'm just talking to myself, it doesn't work. The family dinners in Boston Blue got off to a nice start, but until Sarah's subplot with Phoebe began, I didn't feel like we were a family. By informing Sarah that she was staying at her friend's house while her friend pretended to be staying at Sarah's, Phoebe engaged in typical teenage deceit. I have no idea why teenagers consistently act in that way. It's a formula for catastrophe, since all it takes to expose them is for one parent to call the other when they are unable to contact their child. Even though Sarah might have prevented a worse catastrophe, I can see why Phoebe thought Sarah's behavior was excessive and unpleasant. Although he seemed to respect her boundaries, it was a little unsettling that he tried to kiss her after she refused drink. Phoebe is 15 years old and only worries that Dad's girlfriend treated her pals like criminals, humiliating her in front of them. She has no idea what may have occurred if Sarah hadn't shown up. Although I appreciated all of the support Sarah received at the family dinner table, I would have given everything for her and Danny to discuss what transpired with Phoebe. Given his personal experience, he would have had a lot to say about how Sarah was managing the Phoebe problem, and that could have been a pleasant emotional bonding moment. Although Sarah's situation is confusing because she isn't Phoebe's mother and isn't married to Phoebe's father, I'm happy that she and Phoebe's father seem to get along, and that he even proposed that they move in together after she reprimanded Phoebe for sneaking around. These two have a supervisory officer, right? Why was Danny the only one who advised them to focus on their work rather than going on a scavenger hunt to find a missing person? In the end, they located the man, and Danny acknowledged that, as a rookie police officer, he would have taken the same action, but the entire situation seemed implausible. I'm not sure why he didn't understand May's motivations for pursuing the matter. She stated that she wanted the victim to make the final decision, and the victim expressed a desire to proceed. That's all.